Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Strike Force. Now, I hope that you all been doing well. And wow, this purple ISO leaderboard event that's going on right now is quite exciting. Now, I am going to be talking more tomorrow about Dark Dimension 8 and purple ISO and math related to that. I've broken it all down, but I think that today's video is going to be much more important to get out and let you guys know what's going on because I think there's some really exciting topics in here. But just wanted to share. This is a really competitive board. I held like 10,000 energy, and this is where I'm at right now. Now, if I could hold the top 2,500, that would be super stellar because obviously these leaderboards are going to be really, really important, like I mentioned in previous videos. But what are we here to talk about? Well, we're here to talk about more data mines, and there are some rumors here attached to the data mines and some upcoming information that I have that I think that you guys should know about. And I think that it's going to be really exciting stuff to talk about. So if you're ready to go, everybody, let's boil this down. So there's a couple of things in here to start. By the way, if you're not a part of the Boilon Discord server, make sure that you are, because you're always going to get the most up-to-date information on the game. And of course, watching these videos will help too, but you might get it a little bit early if you follow along. Anyways, in the Data Mines channel, I did post that Gladiator is coming first, it would seem, of the Annihilators team. So I think that the order for release is going to be Gladiator, Gore, and then Thanos. That's what I've seen in the files. That's the order in which the core orbs are listed. And there is specific inbox messages that state Gladiator as well, that he's coming soon. You know, the offer stuff, right? Like, here's the offers, here's the orbs, blah, 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 blah. So I think the Gladiator will be the first character to have an offer. Now, because it was not on the blog on Friday, I seem to think that it's going to be probably next week sometime. Could be Monday sometime, but sometime next week. It'll probably be mentioned on Friday's blog post about that. I'm not sure how much of a big deal this is, though, because realistically, I think that Thanos is the linchpin. He's the main character that's going to make or break the arena meta and change it. However, Gore is going to be a good character because he's basically going to counter Old Man Logan, who we're going to talk about in this video here as well. But Gore's kit is essentially like an FU to characters with revive once and things like that. So I don't know how much Gladiator on his own is going to make a difference, but there we are. Strike Pass Season 65, that's going to be Sasquatch Shards. So, as you guys know right now, we do have Ares Battle Pass going on right now, and, that's going to cover the next 6 weeks. I've already broken down the math. Check out my video from yesterday if you don't know about, like, how to kind of get 5-star, 6-star, 7-star Ares, depending on how much you're willing to pay for that. But the strike passes are still going on as normal, and I was kind of wondering whether or not that they were going to, I don't know, make newer character shards harder to get, because we seem to be like, because they came out with this one here, which was like the second time we've had shards for Pandapool and Dawkins. So I guess we're just going into Sasquatch, but that only leaves one pass, the strike pass, for new characters, right? So I guess after this, who are we looking at? I don't even know who came out after Sasquatch. Alpha Flight, like, on my mind's blanking right now. Like, I don't know what the next expected strike pass is going to be. Probably Illuminati, right? If they even do that. Black Panther Shuri, possibly. Anyways, here's some photos of the orbs that are coming, and you can kind of see how it goes. Quantum Hank. This is the Hank Pym event orb. And then we have Gladiator, and then we have Gore, and then we have Thanos Endgame. So there we go. Now, this one is really exciting here that I want to talk about. This is called The Mind of Magneto. It's an upcoming event campaign that is likely to be coming around next week, I think. And what's interesting is it says Age of X Chapter 1 called The Mind of Magneto, which means that there might be a storyline that has more than one chapter, or maybe they're just doing this in case they do want to do something later. But what I also find really interesting about this, though, is that I thought we already had an Age of X Chapter 1. There was so many tabs. There was a blog post here, right, from when we had that Enter the Age of X event. Do you guys remember this one? To celebrate the debut of this age, we're launching a new 7-mission event called Enter the Age of X. I guess this is different. It was like the precursor to the Age of X. And, we had a bunch of missions which we got free rewards for, which was based on, like, I guess, X-Men's battles in the Marvel, in the comics, right? So it seems like we're getting something different here called the Mind of Magneto. And then when you open this one here, you can see the names of the missions. So it says Chapter 1, Names, Echoes of the Past, True Brotherhood, Mutant Against Mutant, A Vengeance, Sins of the Children, Remove One Head, and Mutant Supremacy. Magneto confronts those who would harm mutant kind when old friends arrive. Enter Magneto's mind. The heroes face his first line of mental defenses. The memory of those who should stand with Magneto, stand his way. Hunted by humanity's greatest defenders, Magneto stands against the Avengers. Deep into Magneto's subconscious, the heroes face what he views as his greatest failure. Forever haunted by the evils committed against him and his family, Magneto's mind conjures a terrible visage, and to discover what lies at the center of his mind, Magneto must face his truest fear. Now, why am I talking about this? Is because I have heard also, I mean, yeah, cool that we're going to get some free stuff. I have heard, rumor has it, that Magneto might be seeing a rework. Now, I was kind of toying with the idea of would we just see a brand new Magneto? I think that would be cool too. Honestly, for those of you who have watched X-Men 97, great show, by the way. So if you haven't watched that, go check it out. Magneto is featured very heavily in that TV show, and they haven't at this point touched on anything related to X-Men 97. That being said, like I said, rumor has it that Magneto will be seeing a rework. And that could be interesting. Now, where in the timeline would that fit, though, right? Because right now we have the Annihilators. We think that the next patch is going to be the Karen patch with possibly, and there's Loki if you didn't hear him shaking. Next patch could be also the Dracula patch with Karen, right? Legendary Dracula, that's kind of speculated anyways, and I've speculated that as well. And so where would that fit in for a Magneto rework or Magneto team? I'm not sure. It could be a very small team where, Magneto's maybe like on a Crucible team of some degree, like two new characters, three reworks, or something like that, like a small team. Could even be like one new character and four reworks. Maybe it's not like a major thing, but just something in between, Annihilators and the Karen team, something like that. And so I wanted to kind of take a look. Magneto's had a lot of affiliations, right? But it's my understanding that they're looking at a new version of Magneto, aka the Krakoa era. And so that seems to be the storyline that they're kind of driving home in the game that they're wanting to discuss, especially since Xavier, right? We've seen Xavier on the Age of X screen. He is using the Krakoa era version where he's kind of standing. He has the Cerebro helmet, that kind of thing. And so I have actually read quite a few of the comics, especially in the Krakoa era. And it really, like, I don't know, but there's only like two things that really pop out at me, which is the Quiet Council of Krakoa. And this is because he is like one of the ruling characters there, mutants on the council. And this doesn't even show him actually. He is in there, but these are the rest of the Quiet Council. So there are people like Emma Frost, Storm, Colossus, Hope, is that Hope Summers? And Kate Pride, Catherine Pride. She kind of like doesn't go by Kitty as much anymore. Xavier Exodus, new character. I think that's Celine, honestly, but I don't remember. And then Mystique and Destiny. So a lot of characters there. There's also like quite a few others that kind of like went through. Like Nightcrawler was also in the Quiet Council, things like that. You can they actually mention the former members in here. Sinister was actually on the Quiet Council as well. So quite a few other characters. And so that could be a thing, but there's a lot of characters to grab from, and I don't know if they do that necessarily. The other thing would be the Brotherhood of Arakko, aka X-Men Red. So what happened in the storyline was basically that the combination, I believe, of Magneto, Storm, and Iceman and stuff, they basically terraformed Mars and they renamed it Arakko, because a lot of the mutants, there was mutants from another dimension, essentially from where Apocalypse was from or something like this, and they came through the gates and they needed a home, and so they terraformed Mars. And a lot of people moved there, and basically Storm led this team. And Magneto was a very big part of this as well. So they dubbed it X-Men Red, or that was the comic run of that. And there were a handful of characters that we kind of have now, like Storm. Sunspot's on the list, and I don't see that being a thing really because, he's very much still used for Extreme X-Men. There are not a lot of recognizable characters. Nova apparently was on this, Richard Rider Nova. There's not a lot of recognizable mutants that I think could come out of this. And so it's possible, though, that they could take like Magneto, Storm, and like I don't know, make up some sort of do an MSF kind of mishmash like they normally would for Magneto. But I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Apparently, he's been affiliated with the Hellfire Club as well. So just considering this new era version of Magneto in terms of like what his affiliations would be now. But it's MSF, so they could also do whatever the hell they want because that's also happened too. The second thing that I want to talk about in today's video is something that I spoke about on Saturday, or Friday, Saturday. We've been talking about the return of the Old Man Logan trials. This one is going to be pretty interesting, I think, for a lot of people because rumor has it that they are removing the leaderboards for the next run of Old Man Logan. And that we are not going to be having if you guys remember how it was before, that basically 6 and 7 yellow was leaderboard locked. So this might come to a surprise, or maybe not to some people, but that's what I've heard is that basically the leaderboard is being done away with, and you can farm 7 yellow. And so my guess is what that means then is that if you're aiming for that 7 yellow, that you're going to have to clear difficulty 15. I'm pretty sure that's the top end difficulty for that. And then for 6 yellow, I forget which one you need to clear for that. Is it D13 or 14? I think it was 13, but I don't remember. And then 5 yellow was 11, right? So 11 for 5, 13 for 6, and 15 for 7. I think that's what it would be then to get to farm the yellow stars for Old Man Logan. Now, it did cap out at 4 yellow, I want to say, I think from the milestone rewards. So that's still a thing. And that means that red stars are going to be farmable probably on the conclusion of the trial. And before we jump into some extra stuff, I do want to talk about red stars and what that would look like for Old Man Logan. I have this table here for his cost. Honestly, I don't think it's going to mirror things like Nova, Black Cat, and Green Goblin. So you can see those here. I really do not think those are going to be the cost for Old Man Logan. He's a completely separate tier of character. So I think what we would end up seeing is, I think it might be closer to Super Skrull at this point. Like, as far as power goes, Old Man Logan is on par with Super Skrull, or arguably a little bit better. And so I would not be surprised if they go with this structure, which is 5,000, 6,000, and 10,000 for 5, 6, and 7 star red stars. I don't think that they're going to make diamonds available. I think that's still pretty exclusive. And we have that event actually that's going to be in 2 weeks called Diamond Claws, which is going to reward diamonds for Old Man Logan. So I think realistically, we're probably looking at just like the rest of the red stars opening up for him because the second event is going to allow you to potentially directly go to 7 yellow. Now, what does that mean? Obviously, that means, and why are they doing it like this, or why would they be doing it this soon, and why do I think this is going to happen? That's also because that, well, all the characters are farmable. But the reason why it's coming up sooner rather than later, which is probably going to be next week as well, probably starting next Monday, honestly, because my leader is at 142 out of 300 shards, which means I'm not quite 7 star. Will I get 7 star before the end of the trial? That's hard to say, right? But the fact that I'm here means that there's a lot of people that are also getting a lot closer, and why they're kind of doing on this structure. So people who want to kind of push their leader to 7 star faster to get this in is going to maybe buy shards for leader, because I'm not going to core the Crucible store to get his shards faster. I don't really like the idea of doing that when I have lots of other things to do with my power cores. But with all the characters farmable, leader is going to be the biggest crutch, in my opinion, because I have everyone else at 7, and everyone else is largely easily accessible, and we've had out of time farmable for a while for you to be able to do that. So leader is going to be, I think, the biggest crutch for most people. But let me know if let me know in the comments down below if that's not your crutch towards Old Man Logan, but it is for mine. Now, I do want to kind of say one last thing, though, is that the radioactive orb has been very good for me to be able to get additional shards for leader. So I hoarded, as you guys know, I hoarded a shit ton of energy, like 10,000 energy. But I ended up getting about, I think it was about 60, 70 shards of leader from these orbs. So by and large, I actually came out pretty good. And it's a good orb towards Old Man Logan. It also has a Panda Pool and Dakin. Like, I'm at 6 star for Panda Pool and almost 6 star there. So it's been a pretty good orb. I mean, yeah, there's farmable characters in there with the other characters, but I think for like anyone that's not like completely at the top, it's still a pretty good orb as far as characters go. And Black Knight's really expensive in the Crucible store. So if you don't have him at 7 star yet, then I think that this is going to be very helpful, especially for new and mid game players, to be able to get additional shards for these characters. But yeah, will I get the leader to 7 star, which is basically the block, what's going to be the block for 7 star Old Man Logan for me? Not entirely sure. And of course, we're going to be covering things as they develop, but that's basically what I know so far. So just a recap of what happened in this video is that the TLDR version, I suppose, is that there's going to be some Magneto event campaigns that's going to be coming around, I think, next week. This also could be a foretelling precursor to a potential Magneto rework down the line. And also that there is old Man Logan trials coming back around next week, and the leaderboard is being trashed, from what I understand. And that you will be able to have access to 6 and 7 yellow, and I guess a 4 red, and then later on they're going to make the red stars available. That's what I know so far, though. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below, and as always, make sure you like and subscribe and ring that notification bell to keep updated to all things Boilon and Marvel Strike Force, because if you want to know the earliest information on this game as soon as possible, then you're going to want to keep following this channel. So that's it for now. I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay safe and healthy.